You stand up.
Good afternoon and welcome to the City of Isani Emergency City Council meeting for Wednesday, March 25th, 2020 at 6 o'clock. This is being held at City Hall. Persistent to Minnesota Statute 13D.02, the public body has determined that the Isani City Council will not be able to hold a meeting in person due to the pandemic COVID-19. Persistent to Minnesota Statute 13D.021, the Isani City Council will be holding an emergency City Council meeting via telephone or virtual by use of computer by using gotomeeting.com. The public and comment at the City Council meeting can be done visiting a website. That website is listed on the city webpage. I'm not going to go over the whole entire web address. Or you can call in at 1-571-317-3112 and use a code 308-600-749. I'd now like to call this meeting to order. If those of us that are present can rise for Pledge Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilman Lundin and Councilman Burgley are physically present. Councilman Collison is absent due to an illness, and Councilman Gordon is present via telephone. At this time, if there was any public comment, I would welcome it at this time. None at this time. I would like to make a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
I have a so moved by Councilman Lundin and a second by Councilman Burgley. All in favor, say aye.
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 Well,
Ms. Wood, do I need to do that for the non-viewing audience? Do I need to say who voted aye? Okay, those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Councilman Burgley saying aye, Councilman Lundin saying aye, and via telephone, Councilman Gordon also saying aye, as well as myself saying aye. Business items are a resolution 2020 declaring local state of emergency. On this item, gentlemen, we do have attached in your packet. Councilman Gordon, I'm sure you don't have this in front of you at the moment, or do you?
Yep, I've got it.
Okay. The resolution, I can go over it again, I guess. The resolution states as follows. Whereas the City of Isani is experiencing the COVID-19 pandemic, and whereas response and support to affected individuals, communities, medical systems, businesses, and government has caused significant impact to the City of Isani, and whereas by Emergency Executive Order 20-01, Governor Tim Walz has declared a peacetime state of emergency to authorize any and all necessary resources to be used in support of the COVID-19 response as of March 13th, 2020. And whereas by proclamation declaring a local emergency, myself, Mayor Jeff Johnson, has declared that local emergency exists due to the COVID-19 health pandemic, and whereas the City Council of the City of Isani agrees with Mayor's findings that the emergency will last more than 3 days, and whereas the City Council consents to the declaration of a local emergency and declares that local emergency will continue in effect until federal or state actions declaring an end to the state of emergency for this locality, I can't even, locality, geez, sorry, and subsequent determination by the city of Isani and council, whereas the resolution invokes the city's emergency operations plans and for the duration of the emergency, the portions that are necessary for response to recover from pandemic emergency and hereby authorized, including but not limited to all appropriate community containment and mitigation strategies. To the extent that the laws and city policies and procedures impede an effective response or compliance with federal and state directives and recommendations, the city administrator, city management director, and their designees are hereby authorized to suspend compliance with those laws, policies, procedures as authorized by the Emergency Executive Order 20-01 and Minnesota State Section 12.32, and to take those actions necessary to protect the public health, safety, and welfare. Whereas the City Council agrees with Mayor's determination that this in-person meetings of the City Council, Planning Commission, and other commissions and boards of the City of Isani are not practical or prudent due to the COVID-19 health pandemic. Emergency Executive Order 20-01, the City Council extends the authority of all city public bodies to conduct public meetings persistent to and in compliance with Minnesota State Statute 13D.021 until such time as the presiding officer of each body determines and I lost my place, sorry. In conclusion, with the city administrator, that is no longer impractical or imprudent for the respective public body to resume in-person meetings, and whereas the City of Isani Emergency Management Director requests the City Council declare the City of Isani in a state of emergency, that a local state of emergency exits in the City of Isani due to the COVID-19 health pandemic. Now, therefore, it is hereby resolved that the City Council declares the City of Isani in a state of emergency for conditions resulting from the COVID-19 health pandemic.
I make a motion to approve.
Can we ask questions?
Absolutely. That's what we're here for.
Cool.
If you have any questions, Councilman Gordon, you kind of have a lag time. So say something and we know you're not cutting us off. It's just that you have a lag to your audio. Councilman Burgley does have a question. We'll let him go first.
So the chief is the emergency manager director, right? Management director?
Correct.
So do we have a plan in place? I mean, I read the forms. And
Pandemic?
yeah, I'm just wondering if you have something more specific than that, or what's going to happen now?
We have the City of Isani Emergency Operations Plan as a whole. The pandemic plan, it was one section in there. So we've had this in place with our city for many, many years. So we're just going into operation mode into here. Involves, we don't have this motion and this action doesn't mean that tomorrow anything really changes operationally wise drastically. It gives us the abilities to work with our partners in the Isani County Emergency Management, Alina Health, the Isani Fire. It just opens up all those cooperations that we actually have already laid out in our emergency operations plan.
Okay. Well, it looks like the county board did this, and the city of Cambridge did this, and
A day later than us, but yes, Councilman Burgley, they did.
they're doing it tomorrow, or?
We did it Monday. They did it Tuesday, right? Something like that. Not that I'm,
Well, I just thought I
Paying
saw it,
attention
I
now.
just thought I saw Cambridge in the paper, that's why I said it. And then didn't the email say the county board did it too? Did I read that? right?
Correct.
The Stanley County Board did, yes.
So we're just following in the line and making,
following
so,
suit.
making so you can have impeded access to these people and
Correct.
not,
It's
not
just
worry
that-
about us meeting, because we're not really meeting right now. This suspends our,
it suspends everything but our council meetings. However, you can call in, like Councilman Gordon is doing. And to be honest with you, the only reason he's doing this is he wasn't sure if he was going to be here on time.
sure,
So I said, well, you can call in and be here via telephone,
okay.
which was permitted by
Okay.
law.
So, I tried to read it all over and got through most of it. And I was just wondering if we had any specific actions you were taking and.
Ms. Wood?
Yeah, I'd like to speak on that if I may. First with the meetings. So we will, now that we have go-to meetings set up, we will continue to do meetings that we have things on the agenda that need to be brought forward, whether it be city council or a planning commission. The public will be notified on our Facebook page and on our website. On the agenda, there will be a code similar to what Councilmember Gordon called in on today, or the public, there could be other public listening today, that they can call in to speak at public comment time or during public hearings or any business that we have. So during a local state of emergency, state statute allows, if we find it prudent to not hold meetings in-person form, that they can be done this way. So this is how we will continue to operate our meetings going forward until it's determined that it's not prudent to do so. In regards to city operations and what we're doing specifically, in terms of staffing, we're staggering staff shifts that can do so. For example, in the Public Works facility as well as the police department. And in City Hall, we're also doing it in a way that sometimes they may work from home and they may come in depending on what functions are providing. With the order that was given today that takes effect on Friday at 11:59 p.m., it is to make sure that we have the critical staff that we need here to do what we need to do. And to be honest, we have such phenomenal staff, things I don't think are going to miss much of a beat, if at any. Things are going really well. We have a really good thought out plan on how to make sure that we not only get critical services done, but the daily services and functions as well. So we have staff who were given the capability to work remotely. So if they are not physically in here, to keep the separation between different staff members, they have the ability to continue to work. So we've been working since all this kind of has started to make sure we're on the forefront of having everyone set up. So even though this order doesn't take effect till Friday and it was just released today, we have everything set into place and we actually started that plan this week.
Our staff was even ahead of the governor. Yeah.
Well, I'm just, because people will ask, people know you're on council, they stop and talk to you and say, what are you guys doing
Absolutely.
next? Yeah, so-
Of course,
And
6
if-
feet
and-
apart with practicing your social distancing, right, Councilman Brigley? When they're stopping and talking to you? I don't need you sick is my point.
Well, in chiropractic, you don't always practice every social distancing principle, but we do.
Wear latex gloves, hand sanitizer, washing your hands.
Well, yeah, we do all that. I'm just saying social distancing.
Do you wear a mask when you do chiropractic?
I don't breathe, I hold my breath. So.
You're
Another
fit.
thing that I'd like to mention, Mayor and Council, is for any public that's listening here today, if they haven't seen it, we have been keeping regular updates on our Facebook page and also on our city website under the emergency preparedness page, under the Chief Myers pages that we have on there. We're continually putting updates on there to let people know what things have changed or are changing. Or, for example, we have delayed the water shutoffs, which would normally occur in April. So if you get any questions about that, that notice has been posted on our website and Facebook page. Our residents won't be experiencing late fees during this time due to COVID-19. So all those kinds of things, we're trying to keep the public updated. So if they're listening to this on YouTube and didn't know that those resources are available to them, please check those out or feel free to call City Hall. Still staffing City Hall. We're not open to the public, but they can call, they can email, and still get their questions answered.
Super, thank you.
And then as far as the plan goes, we did do the pandemic plan, which was revised from 2009
Correct.
to current. And then I declared the state of emergency on a local level. And now step 3 would be if the EM Emergency Management Director, which is Chief Myers, if he had to open the emergency operations plan, then that would be another step or piece to the puzzle, think of it as. We're just giving the authorization to where they don't have to come to us.
Sure.
They can just deal with this on an hour-by-hour, day-by-day basis and react. My main concern was we have a little over 6,000 residents that we have to keep safe, well, and secure. You know, even though the governor did make the stay-at-home shelter policy today at 2 p.m., I mean, I don't want to gloat any more than Ms. Wood did, but we were ahead of everybody. And it's just because we care, all of us in this room. And there's only 5 of us in this room, so, and we're all 6 feet apart.
Six in a room.
Yeah, 6, sorry. My math skills aren't the best, but we are 6 feet apart.
Steve Lundin does.
Even Councilman Gordon and the public that's on the telephone now is 6 feet away from us, so.
Well, I just wanted to know if there's any specific plans already laid out, just waiting for this to go through, and then we had specific plans to.
No, Mayor in Berkeley, the biggest piece of that is the timing is actually working really good with the county. You know, we went to a meeting today. The county is going to start operating their emergency operations center shortly. So they're in their planning stage, and they're reaching out to the cities and making sure that we're into that plan. So this will allow us now, so we can work in with them with their emergency operation plan.
Okay, thank you.
We're just having our ducks in a row to where if something does happen, or, I mean, this is a pretty huge pandemic, so, I mean,
Well-
once it does happen, the staff, the council, the emergency management, everybody is prepared and ready to react.
Right. So, cool, thank you.
Any other questions, Councilman Gordon?
Sure. So I'm having a little bit of trouble hearing Chief Myers there and Josie and everything. I can catch most of it, but I'm having a little trouble. So I might be asking some questions here that maybe we've already asked or already covered and answered. But as far as I understand it, this is essentially just kind of opening up lines of communication between the county and the state and everything, like kind of making it easier to work with them. And I think what you're saying there, Jeff, is that we're basically, you know, we're not necessarily putting an emergency response plan into place, but we're kind of allowing that to be implemented if it's needed. Basically, is that kind of essentially how we're, as far as I understand it, that's what we're doing, right?
Councilmember Gordon, just to clarify, we are in the emergency response planning. We have implemented that plan, but we have not implemented the Emergency Operations Center, which is kind of that next phase. But we are in the emergency planning, the operations plan, where we're doing for sure critical services. We have a little bit limited staff for some other things and so on.
Okay, so it's basically we've already implemented the operations part of it. Now we're more or less declaring the emergency. So,
Correct.
I mean, anything that we're doing on a city level, this is not going to be more restrictive as far as day-to-day life for the residents than what the governor just implemented today for beginning on Friday, right?
No, the governor, I mean, as you know, Councilman Gordon, and everybody on this council or in this room at that matter, and hopefully everybody in the public, that if the governor issues something, I'm small fish when it comes to the governor, so I have to comply with what the governor says. And if the governor, says he's closing the whole state down, that's what happens. But he's put in the stay-at-home shelter declaration, I guess you could call it, and he's closing non-essential businesses, and he's declared that. So we have to follow suit with that and abide that. As far as on a city level goes, we're just implementing this to make sure it's closer to home, so to speak, on making sure that our residents, our families, our staff, everybody is safe, secure. and essentially we don't get sick, but if it hits here at home, we're giving them the authorization to react to it and do what is necessary without having to run back to council.
Right. But I mean, we're not necessarily implementing a curfew or shutting everything down completely. You know, I mean, it's not any more restrictive than what the governor announced today, right?
Correct.
Here,
Okay.
Council Gordon.
Can you hear Chief Myers, Councilman Gordon?
I can't really hear a whole lot of what he's saying. I can hear bits and pieces, but
All right, well, we'll try again. None of our emergency operations plan have anything to do with curfew or anything like that. The biggest thing by enacting this emergency declaration by the council will open up more opportunities for myself to reach out to the bigger agencies. So if you go up the food chain, you know, the county, the state, the federal agencies, to get more resources, allows us to plan with them, use them as a resource. So it doesn't actually affect, we're not doing there's nothing in our emergency management plan that has anything with curfew or anything like what the governor's order is. We don't have that authority in our emergency management plan.
okay. All right. Yeah, that's kind of how I understood it too. So, okay. I mean, and then the last part about this. So, as a city, I mean, we have the liquor store open right now. I mean, are we going to continue to keep that open, or is that something that will be shut down? Does that have anything to do with this, or not really?
Ms. Wood, if you wouldn't mind covering that.
Right, so in the governor's order, he did make it clear it's one of the things that can remain open is a liquor store. Our liquor store will continue to remain open. Right now, we are operating at regular hours and schedules like we typically do. However, things are fluid and you don't know if things change come to staffing levels. So right now we are open and we plan to be open on normal, regular days and hours. However, if we do become short on staff, if they get sick or ill and unable to work, we might limit hours or days, but at this time, we don't have that happening, and we hope that it doesn't.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah, that's all the questions I could think of right now. So.
Okay.
Second the motion.
Therefore, I had a motion to approve by Councilman Lundin and now a second by Councilman Burgley. All in favor, say aye.
Call for votes, so that you don't have to.
Aye.
Calling for, sorry, Councilman Gordon, I fumbled that because I'm not used to it. I'm used to doing my normal way. I have to call for votes. So, obviously, Councilman Gordon says aye. Councilman Lundin,
Aye.
Councilman Burgley,
Aye.
and myself is an aye as well. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0.
Motion to adjourn.
I have a motion to adjourn by Councilman Burgley,
Second.
second by Councilman Lundin. All in favor, I guess I have to call for votes in that too. Councilman Lundin,
Aye.
Councilman Burgley,
Aye.
Councilman Gordon,
Aye.
and myself is an aye as well. Therefore, we stand adjourned.
Thank you.